All right, and we back on the forecast. Now, we as a collective cannot be afraid or ashamed of defending ourselves. We let people straw man us to death about why we shouldn't be defending ourselves. If we say stop killing us, they say, oh, that means you hate all white people. That means you want to kill all white people. But nobody really cares about all white people. But they're so arrogant, they think people think about them all the time. But that's because they're really thinking about us all the time. And most of their time has been spent trying to keep us in our position. And to be honest, it's only really 3 times it matters when a white person is racist. If you work for the government in any kind of way, from being a lawmaker to being a policeman, if you hold a position where you make decisions affecting other people's lives. Number 2, and it doesn't matter as much to me, but if you hire for anybody, for any company. But we really need to start rebuilding our own businesses and hiring ourselves anyway. Of course, they're going to look out for themselves. We have to look out for ourselves. And number 3, when you're violent, when you attack somebody based off their race. And I know some people will say, well, black people are violent too. Well, black people don't feel the way they do about white people because of their race. They feel that way because of their history. We're not prejudging before the fact. We have hundreds of years of evidence that leads us to believe this way. But we simply don't have this history of violence against them. If we were as violent as they claim we are, we wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. But we cannot continue to let people come in and keep harming us. We cannot continue to take casualties. But they've beaten the mindset into us where we think protecting ourselves is wrong. They've instilled self-hate into us. They've been passing laws forbidding us from protecting ourselves for hundreds of years. One of the first gun laws in America, before it was America, before the Constitution, before the Second Amendment, in the early 1600s, Virginia passed a law banning all black people from owning any kind of guns. And at the same time, making white people not owning a gun punishable by law. Because they were instilling in them that they need to keep us in our place and instilling in us that we need to stay in our place from the very beginning. For hundreds of years, there were literally laws on the books making it illegal for us to protect ourselves. And that trauma does get passed down, but we don't have any other choice but to overcome it. And today they love to bring up Martin Luther King and talk about love and forgiveness. But even Martin Luther King tried to get a gun, and guess what? They denied him. And he was receiving death threats every day. The man got shot in the face. And we all know what happened when the Black Panthers just started exercising their gun rights. They just changed the law completely. But for them, it's not about right and wrong. It's about maintaining a position. And for us, it can't be about right or wrong. It has to be about liberation, liberty or death, by any means necessary. We're afraid to talk about defending ourselves, living in a country that spends so much money on self-defense. A place that is always celebrated is right to own guns. But every time we're anywhere near a gun, us being murdered is justified. In St. Louis, a brother Terry Tillman was shot and killed by the police. Now let's see how this brother ended up getting shot and killed by the police.
A grieving family and an ongoing investigation tonight after a deadly officer-involved shooting near the Galleria Mall. It happened around 3 this afternoon. Our Morgan Young reports this all started inside the mall. She's live with the latest. Morgan.
Well, Casey, what looks like nothing behind me right now was a very active scene just a few hours ago. You know, the area around the Galleria is busy on a regular weekend, but this is a holiday weekend, one known for good shopping deals. So you have to imagine the number of people who were out here when all of this happened. Police say it started with a mall security guard believing he saw a man inside the mall with a gun. What should have been a busy shopping day
It sounded like 5 shots.
quickly turned busy for a different reason.
I heard a lot of commotion, people was running.
Here, right across the street from the St. Louis Galleria, Shemaya Allen says she was on her way to meet her boyfriend at the mall.
I was like, didn't see him in there. I'm like, where is he? And they were like, he had a gun on him and the cops were chasing him.
So she followed.
And I seen his hat and his bandana and I was like, oh my God, like he must have really been running.
She made it outside, still confused, to find a group of people watching.
I was like, what's going on? And they're like, dude that's running, he's dead.
She and his family identify him as 23-year-old Terry Tillman. St. Louis County Police says a mall security guard believed Tillman had a gun on him.
There was either a bulge or something that was protruding from a waistband.
That guard notified a Richmond Heights officer who police say approached Tillman about the mall's zero-tolerance policy on guns. That's when police say Tillman took off running and the officer chased him. That chase ended here, across the street at the Simmons building. That's where an officer shot him. He died at the scene. Police recovered this weapon from the scene. Tillman's sister says she has more questions.
Everybody's carrying their guns nowadays. If he was flashing it, that's one thing, but if it was concealed, I don't see what the issue was.
The St. Louis Galleria's website says guns are not allowed in the mall. I asked both his sister and girlfriend if they knew he carried.
I didn't know, actually.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Jamie McDowell says she had just texted her brother.
Terry, it's all well. If so, continue to be careful and watch your back. I love you.
Why did you send that to him?
Because I just had 2 dreams that my brother got shot.
A nightmare turned reality, one leaving many asking why. Now, perhaps one of the biggest questions here is what led that officer to feel the need to fire shots at Tillman. Sergeant Ben Granda with St. Louis County said it's presumable that that officer felt threatened. He said that during a press conference this afternoon. He also said that they believe there are a lot more witnesses than who they spoke with today, and they're asking those witnesses to come forward so that some of these questions can get answered.
Now, this brother Terry Tillman did have a gun, and in St. Louis, you can walk around with a gun, but the mall said you can't have it there. So while he was at the mall, a security guard told the police it looked like he had a gun. And then when the police approached him, this brother took off running. Now, as the cops were chasing his brother, they claimed he pulled out his gun. They didn't say whether he was pointing at him or shooting at him. They just said it looked like he pulled it out. And of course, they say they feared for their life and had no other choice but to open fire. And the police said they secured the gun on the scene. And I don't know if there's any body camera footage of any of this happening, but somebody on the scene was recording with their phone. And the video showed one of the cops going into the police car, getting a gun, and bringing it back to the scene.
The news conference was held here at St. Paul AME Baptist Church in North St. Louis this afternoon, where Terry Tillman's family and community leaders gathered demanding action. This is video released for the first time. It was captured by 2 women who were inside a beauty shop. They watched as officers work the crime scene outside. Community leaders claim the video shows a Richmond Heights police officer walking to a police car after the shooting. He's wearing a blue rubber glove on his hand. The activists claim the officer grabbed a weapon and walked towards the scene where Tillman was shot and killed. Community leaders say the scene was already secured and allege that Terry Tillman had a weapon. It would be next to his body. They are making strong allegations the weapon was planted on Tillman. St. Louis County Police, who are handling the investigation, had not seen the video until today. But 2 officers who saw Tillman inside the Galleria say he had an extended magazine on his gun. They approached Tillman because guns are not allowed on Galleria property. Investigators say Tillman ran from officers. They chased him and alerted dispatch about the chase. Other officers arrived, and county police say a Richmond Heights police officer shot and killed Tillman in the parking garage near the Galleria after Tillman raised his gun at officers.
The video shows that the Richmond Heights police corrupting the crime scene by actually getting a gun out of the Richmond Heights SUV and putting gloves on and firing the weapon that supposedly been Terry Tillman had to the scene where he was actually killed. And so what we're saying that he did not have that weapon at the time that he was actually shot.
Police viewed the video for the first time today and released the following statement. The actions taken by law enforcement on scene, including the securing Mr. Tillman's weapon after the shooting, were known and have been documented in the investigation. In other words, police say the video shows officers securing the gun after officers recovered the gun from the shooting scene. They also say we have and will continue to contact persons that may have information pertaining to this incident. In some cases, we have been met with resistance and refusal. In addition, police say they have known about the video since asking for the public's help in August. However, they say both women involved in shooting the video have refused to talk with police, provide their names, or share the video with investigators.
Now, the cell phone video clearly shows the cop getting a gun from out of the cop car, but the police said they had already secured the scene. But then why would they take the gun back to the scene if they already secured it? Now, a lot of people believe the police are just covering up the shooting. And of course, they're telling us just be patient and let us finish investigating ourselves. Because when it comes to our death, we always have to be patient. And we shouldn't believe our own eyes. We just need to take their word for it. But they won't release any of their video. And the only video that is released looks bad for them. And we as a collective do continue to be patient. And they continue to murder us for exercising the very rights that they're willing to die to keep. Try to take their Second Amendment right or say they can't have a gun from them and see what happens. But for us, it doesn't matter if it's a legal gun or not. If you have a gun anywhere near you, it's justified. They say that's what you get for doing anything to try to protect yourself. When it comes to us, we have to wait on the justice system designed to destroy us. In Alabama, a brother Lakeith Smith got a 65-year sentence after the police shot and killed his friend Adonte Washington and then charged him with his murder.
On the morning of February 23, 2015, 5 teenagers drove to the end of a quiet street in Millbrook, Alabama, about 10 miles north of Montgomery. The teens, who were armed, broke into an empty house, stealing electronics and money, then went up the block to another empty home. A suspicious neighbor called 911.
Well, I think we got them blocked off right now if you're still there.
2 Millbrook police officers soon arrived. One went in the front, the other along the side. Gunfire broke out. As the second officer ran towards the backyard, one of the teens, 16-year-old Adonte Washington, came through a back gate carrying a gun. The officer hit Washington 3 times. He died at the scene. Andre Washington is Adonte's father.
That's a good son, good child.
Washington remembers his son as a quiet kid who dreamed of playing football for the University of Florida.
Full of energy when he was young, just full of energy. After high school, he wanted to go to like the Florida Gators.
As the shock of his son's death sunk in, Washington learned something else shocking. Though none had pulled the trigger, the 4 other teens at the house were all being charged not just with burglary and theft, but with murder. The murder of Adonte Washington.
It's crazy.
Do you think the other boys are responsible for Adonte's death?
No.
In Alabama, a murder conviction can bring a sentence of up to 99 years. 3 of the teens took plea deals. The 4th, Lakeith Smith, was offered 25 years, but he rejected it and took his case to court. C.J. Robinson is the Chief Deputy District Attorney for Alabama's 19th Circuit.
He didn't pull the trigger. He didn't kill anybody. So how can he possibly be charged with murder?
I think that's a great question. And, to answer that question, you really have to look at Alabama law. When you look at how that law is on the books and how it's applied in Alabama, it goes to the foreseeable factor, all right?
In Alabama, the law says all suspects can be charged with murder if a death occurs during a felony that's clearly dangerous to human life. Another legal standard used is that the death was foreseeable.
Do I think when I break into this house, an officer is going to come running in and we're going to get in a gunfight? Is that foreseeable? Yes. The question for us was, is it foreseeable that someone could die based off these 5 young men's conduct? Our answer was absolutely.
Alabama's law is based on something called the felony murder rule, a centuries-old legal concept. Back in Alabama, even though Lakeith Smith was 15 at the time of the shootings, he was tried in adult court. Brontina Smith is Lakeith's mother.
Your son was offered a deal.
He was.
Plea deal. He did not take it.
Did not.
Why not?
That was my son's thing. He was like, I didn't kill anybody. Like, why am I admitting to a murder that I know I didn't commit? The cop killed him.
That cop was cleared of wrongdoing. Lakeith Smith's trial took place in 2018 in rural Elmore County, north of Montgomery. An all-white jury found him guilty of burglary, theft, and murder.
It's like, if you don't do what they want you to do, I'm going to show you.
He did commit a crime.
He did. And he should have got the proper time for the crime that he committed, the burglary and the stolen property. To 65 years on a young guy, 15, who didn't kill no one. Didn't kill no one and didn't shoot at no one. Alabama.
Now, these 5 teenage brothers were doing something they had no business doing. They broke into 2 empty houses stealing stuff, and somebody saw them and called the police. So then when the police showed up, they ran. And when the brother Adonte Washington ran through the gate, a cop was standing right there and shot him 3 times. Now, just about every time a police shoot somebody, nobody gets punished, nobody going to jail. They just getting a paid vacation and that's it. But in this case, the police charged the 4 other black teenagers with his brother death, even though the police were the ones who shot him. And that's based on the old Alabama law, and that law is in other places, that if you commit a crime and somebody gets killed, then you could be charged. Now, of course, in this case, they're saying the police killing somebody was a crime, even though if the brother would have been by himself, it wouldn't have been a crime for the police to shoot and kill him, and nobody would have been charged. But in this case, they charged all 4 of them with murder. Now, 3 of them ended up taking plea deals, but the brother Lakeith Smith declined it because he said he didn't kill anybody. When he went to court, they ended up convicting him of first-degree murder, and they sentenced him to 30 years for something a cop did. The police are basically saying, you knew we was gonna kill you niggas, so you're responsible for what happened. Now, nobody is saying they shouldn't be punished for the crimes they did commit, but they shouldn't be punished for something that the police did. Even the brother Adonte Washington parents don't agree with them charging the other teenagers for his death. They were teenagers doing stupid stuff, breaking into empty houses. And even though if this brother was by himself, the police would have never said it was murder or charged anybody for murder. In this case, they charged 4 people with murder and convict 1 person of first-degree murder. But this is why we need our own system. We need our own police to call. We need our own court system. You won't see America let North Korea punish an American citizen, and we shouldn't let outside groups punish our own. We need to find a way to build our own institutions, but we can't do that until we get on code and do what we have to do. At the end of the day, we don't have no other choice because we are all we got. And until we learn that, the same things will keep happening over and over and over.
Nah, we dead, man. And we was at that spot already. We was here already. We didn't even know we over there.
Can I just take a real quick, fellas, or no?
Nah, fuck all that, man. It's a new
Like, we
day,
jumped
man.
off the line to come back on the line. After they told us that this was already
Guys, I'll take you guys. Okay?
Nah, she's still on the black, man. Fuck all
I'm
that.
gonna wait till you take her, then I'll take her. Is that okay with y'all?
Nah, man. My man got to go first, man.
You take me and then take her.
Yeah, we'll take her last.
Laughing at me.
No, you bitch, you skip, man. Fuck out of here. You're a fucking liar, you're a fucking thief, and you're a fucking cheater, man. Fuck out of here,
Not a
man.
cheater.
You're a cheater. My man was
No,
already
you are
in front.
the
Fucking
cheater
cracker
here.
devil. You a fucking cheater. You fucking
no,
devil.
you are the
Fuck out
fucking
of here.
cheater.
You're a fucking devil, cracker. And you're a fucking cheater, man. Fuck out of here. And I'm throwing this shit up on World Star, man. It's your motherfucking turn, man. Now you getting embarrassing. I'll call police, bitch. You still going on World Star. That shit ain't charging shit, bitch. Fuck out of here, man. You're gonna lose your job by the morning. Word up. This is a cheater, man.
Oh, so thief, everybody else is spending like $70, $80.
This is a cheater and a thief right here, man. Wait your fucking turn, dude. You fucking liar. You scumbag. You're a scumbag, man. You're a fucking scumbag. You're a piece of shit. Doghead, dog canine, motherfucking scumbag, dog canine. You're a motherfucking disease, man. You the problem with the world, man. You crackers are the problem with the fucking world, man. And I'm throwing this shit all on World Star, man. To expose your nature, man.
You start thinking me up.
You're a fucking parasite, man. You're a fucking experiment, man.
Nope. I'm gonna go by
phone. Fuck
phone.
out of here, man. You're an experiment, man. You're gonna get brain cancer as soon as you leave here. You're gonna get brain cancer. You're not gonna make it to 2021. You're getting brain cancer. Goddamn cheater. You dog, you liar, you beast, you savage, you ape, you dog. Fuck out of here.
Putting a price on slaves. It's the troubling class assignment that's now landing a Missouri teacher on administrative leave. Alexis Zotos reports.
Walker says she was shocked to find this assignment in her son's folder, asking him to set a price for a slave.
My husband is 10 times more hurt because being an African-American man and knowing that his family, son, and he even said to him, what are we doing here, bud? Like, do you understand there's no value on a life?
One of the questions reads, you own a plantation or farm and therefore need more workers. You begin to get involved in the slave trade industry.
There's no value to playing a game about slavery.
As the mother of a biracial child, but also a teacher herself in a diverse district, Walker says there are other ways to talk about the history of slavery. The assignment was given to the 5th grade class at Blades Elementary in the Melville School District last week. The principal says it was about market practices in early America.
St. Louis Public School District does so many wonderful professional developments on trauma-informed, on cultural sensitivity, and making sure that what we do is thinking of every type of demographic that we serve in our communities.
She says that's her hope in this situation, that her son's teacher and the district as a whole can learn from this. The district has placed that teacher on administrative leave and says they will be working with all staff on cultural bias in the near future.
We have to be more culturally sensitive. We do. We can say to get over homework assignments, it's just a homework assignment. That was 100 years ago. Yes, it was, but it's still someone else's family. Maybe there are people who don't see the wrong in it. We need to be talking about it.
That's Alexis Zotos reporting the NAACP has called for a formal apology from the teacher as well as the superintendent, and they also offered to help train school staff.
We are calling for you to be removed immediately. Remove immediately.
And now at 5 o'clock, angry cries from students and teachers at a school in the Bronx. The group rallying against the principal at MS 224 after the principal told a teacher at the school she couldn't teach Black history.
This is, of course, Black History Month, and the majority of the students at the school happen to be Black or Hispanic. So a lot of parents are asking, why was the teacher singled out?
Eyewitness News reporter Joe Torres live in the Mott Haven section with the very latest for us. Joe?
Diana, according to the teacher at the center of this controversy, this involves much more than just the shutdown of a lesson on Black History Month. According to the teacher, this also involves the white principal's mistreatment of teachers and students here at the school, most of whom are Black and Latino.
Our history now.
Parents and students rallied outside MS 224 in Mott Haven to support an English teacher who claims the school principal is racist. Mercedes Liriano Clark says Principal Patricia Catania shut down her lessons on Black history in the middle of Black History Month.
She says that I'm an ELA teacher and therefore I shouldn't be teaching that. But it's part of the New York State curriculum. So you're telling New York State that they're wrong for instituting that type of curriculum in our schools?
Liriano Clark said even the students were appalled by the principal's action. Students who read, wrote, and developed storyboards about Black history.
I felt very angry by this situation because all of our boards was out there. We put our hard work into it, and she did not take not 1 minute of her time to look at it.
This is something that has to be stopped. You know, why shouldn't they be allowed to learn about their history? You know, 1 month of the year, 1 month.
Liriano Clark and her supporters say there's only one solution to the issues involving her principal.
She should not be around children. That type of mindset should not be in a school mindset. She needs to be removed and ultimately fired.
Now, just a few minutes ago, we got a statement from the Department of Education which reads, in part, all schools must provide a supportive and inclusive environment, and there's no place for discrimination or bias in any of our schools. The statement goes on to add that the complaints here at the school are being investigated and that students are, in fact, working on projects related to Black History Month.
Now to that apology from singer Camila Cabello. Speaking out this morning after past social media posts were discovered, posts that she is now calling, quote, horrible and hurtful. Ariel Reshef is here with this story. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you, Cecilia. A day after those derogatory comments surfaced, the superstar taking to social media to apologize, saying she knows her past language was wrong and asking for forgiveness.
Music superstar Camila Cabello feeling the heat this morning, apologizing for past racist language and images she allegedly used on a now deleted social media account. Cabello writing in a statement, "When I was younger, I used language that I'm deeply ashamed of and will regret forever. I was uneducated and ignorant, and once I became aware of the history and the weight and the true meaning behind this horrible and hurtful language, I was deeply embarrassed I ever used it." The former Fifth Harmony star's statement comes a day after a social media user posted a now defunct Tumblr blog that they claim belonged to Cabello. The account, which is several years old, contains a series of racist jokes and memes. While Cabello Cabello, who dates fellow pop star Shawn Mendes, did not specifically say the account in question was hers. She went on to write, "I can't say enough how deeply sorry and ashamed I feel, and I apologize again from the bottom of my heart." But that apology not enough for many this morning, who are taking to Twitter to vent their frustration. One woman writing that even though the 22-year-old star may have made the post when she was a teenager, at 15 she had to know racism is wrong. Others coming to her defense, tweeting, "At this moment, we must take her apology and hope she truly means it."
And Cabello also writing in her apology, "As much as I wish I could, I can't go back in time and change the things I said in the past, but once you know better, you do better, and that's all I can do." So a little bit of introspection this morning.
A New York City police officer accused of being drunk, breaking into a Nashville home, and using a racial slur faced a judge today. The homeowner, also in court, relived the incident.
News Channel 5's Brandon Marshall spoke with the woman outside the courtroom and has her reaction and the officer's plea.
I still wake up at the same exact time every night since then, since last summer.
Conise Halliburton relived a nightmare in court today. Last summer, New York City police officer Michael Reynolds vacationed in Nashville with friends. On July 9th, around 2:30 in the morning, he's accused of breaking into Halliburton's home and using a racial slur toward her and her two sons. His Airbnb was right next door.
With aggravated burglary, carrying a 3-15-year sentence in state penitentiary.
Reynolds, who faces a felony aggravated burglary and 3 assault charges, pled no contest in front of a judge.
When you can do something like that, you can go to another state and you can commit a crime and you're a police officer. What are you doing in New York?
She finds difficulty sleeping at night.
My kids still wake up with nightmares.
Ultimately, she hopes the officer serves time.
He knows what he did. It's on video. It's audio. There was people there, so how can you not plead guilty and say this is what you did and stand up and be truthful? You're an officer.
This 25-year-old officer will find out his fate during a sentencing hearing scheduled for November. In Nashville, Brandon Marshall, News Channel 5.
Reynolds' lawyer did not speak with the media after today's hearing. Meanwhile, at last check, the NYPD had suspended Officer Reynolds without pay.
Jury selection starts today in the trial of a Fort Worth police officer. He's accused of punching a man and then lying about it.
Fox 4's Brandon Todd is in downtown Fort Worth with more. Brandon?
Well, good morning. Yeah, Officer John Romer was working an off-duty security job at the time. Body camera video shows him punch and then choke Henry Newson at Harris Methodist Hospital in November of 2016. Newson was a patient who had just been discharged. He was arrested for trespassing, but those charges were dropped. Romer was indicted in March of last year on charges of official oppression, perjury, and making a false report to a peace officer. According to the indictment, Romer falsely told investigators the use of force had been approved by the Fort Worth Police Department. Romer was placed on restricted duty after his arrest. That's his status today. His punishment within the department will be determined after that trial is over. And I'm told by the special prosecutor in the case that jury selection should take most of today, and testimony isn't expected to begin until sometime tomorrow.
A year ago, Judge Mabel Jansen got involved in a heated exchange on activist Gillian Skitter's Facebook wall. During that debate, Jansen argued that rape was an inherent part of black culture.
She's really demonized, animalized, victimized black people. And she's in a position where she actually presides over cases of gender-based violence, violence against women. And she sees herself as somebody who speaks on behalf of women.
Skitter republished the judge's comments following the backlash against student Tukozo Kwabe, whose Facebook post about not tipping a white waitress until whites gave the land back prompted some groups to demand that Oxford University revoke his scholarship. Now, Judge Jansen is facing calls for her removal from office.
Those are not beliefs that a judge who is supposed to be fit and proper for the bench are meant to embody and to hold.
Judge Jansen has said that she's unable to fully deal with the accusations against her because her husband died over the weekend. But she has reportedly also stated that instead of branding her as a racist, South Africans needed to face up to the country's rape epidemic and find ways of solving it. The ANC says Jansen's comments show the need to evaluate whether the judiciary truly is transformed.
For someone in that position to make such statements, really, it rubbishes the notion that judges are beyond reproach.
While the Judicial Service Commission mulls over what action to take in this ugly saga, there is also a very real possibility that those black men convicted and sentenced by Jansen may very well use her Facebook comments as grounds for appeal.
Hateful vandalism in one Queens community on Thanksgiving morning.
Be reminded of the hate in the world, especially during the holidays. It's a time to focus on the good things in life and being thankful.
But Jacqueline Correcchia, who's been living in Howard Beach her whole life, says she was reminded of hate on Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving morning, my children and I got up excited to begin the day, as most families are, and we came out to see the graffiti.
Words like expletive white people were spray painted in black and red all over fences, trees, and sidewalks near 151st Avenue and 81st Street. These are the disturbing photos taken by people in the neighborhood.
Words that you don't want to see. Curses, some racial things. It was just very hateful and very inappropriate. I felt that it was something that no parent wants their child to see.
Lena Francis is also a longtime Howard Beach resident.
It's something scary, you know, and dangerous for the area, like the people write something like that.
Neighbors say despite the hurtful graffiti on their properties, something good came out of it. It brought the community together.
It did bring the neighborhood together. The neighbors, we all helped each other. We power washed each other's trees.
We're told even responding officers joined the cleanup effort. But still, the vulgar words cut deep for many families who just wanted to celebrate and give thanks with their loved ones this holiday.
I don't want to see it again. It's disgusting. I want to see the person that did this get caught.
And as you can see, all of the graffiti in this neighborhood has since been removed. People we talk with in this neighborhood say they hope their kids never have to see anything like it again. As for who did this, we're told there is a full investigation underway. The NYPD's Hate Crimes Unit is investigating.
You being real fucking disrespectful.
I'm being disrespectful.
Yeah, you
That
are.
was nice. Like I
no,
said,
you weren't nice.
Like I
He's
said, I
nice.
can do whatever the fuck I want to do. I can say whatever the fuck I want to say. You feel me?
Touch my car, dude.
Simple as that.
Go ahead and hit my car.
I ain't gonna touch shit. You in my face, my nigga.
Yeah.
So what you want to do?
You're the one with the
Like I
mouth.
said, spit on me again, I'm gonna knock your ass out. And
You're
I
the
mean
one that
shit.
threatened me, boy.
Hey.
Boy.
Hey,
You threatened me, boy.
That racist shit don't do shit to me.
Oh,
my
I
nigga.
ain't being racist.
That's
You
racist
are?
shit. That's
I
a
ain't being racist.
Hey,
You
that's a
are?
racist slur, my nigga.
You're the one
That's
that
a
was
racist-
disrespectful
I don't give a
to
fuck
me.
about your car. I don't give a fuck
I'm
about
not a
your
racist.
Hey, touch
I'm
me
here
again.
with my brother.
Don't call me
I
a
didn't fucking
boy.
touch
I'm
you.
a grown ass man, nigga.
Fuck off,
Yo,
punk.
hey, do something.
You're the one that
Do
said you
something.
want to hit me.
I'll knock your ass out if
I'm
you
waiting
touch
for
me,
you.
bro.
Knock me
Touch
out.
me.
Knock me out.
Hey, touch me.
Knock me out.
Touch me. I'm gonna knock your
You're
ass
a
out of
punk.
here. That's what the fuck I thought,
You're
nigga.
a punk.
Get your weak ass in your car.
I'm right here, dude.
All right, touch me,
Turn
bro.
the video off.
Yeah, I ain't
Turn
turning
the
shit out.
fucking video off.
Hey, get on my
punk.
face.
Can I get any closer to you?
Hey, touch
I'm in
me.
your fucking face.
Touch me.
I'm in your fucking
touch
face.
me. I'm gonna knock your ass out.
You're a punk.
All you gotta do is touch me, bro. I ain't stupid.
You're a punk.
I ain't stupid.
You're a fucking punk.
Hey, I'm black, but I ain't stupid. You
You're
feel
a
me?
punk.
Hey,
Yeah? What?
Stop touching my car, fam.
You fucking touched my car again,
Hey.
boy?
Watch out, bro.
Boy,
Watch your mouth.
I just touched you.
Watch
What are you
your
gonna do?
mouth.
You're a fucking punk.
Watch out.
Get the fuck
Hey,
off me, boy.
baby.
What's up?
Baby.
What's
What's
up?
up?
Baby.
What's up?
What
What's
you
up?
wanna do? What you wanna do?
You'll see what the fuck I'm
What you
gonna
wanna do?
You'll see.
What's up? Show me something.
All right, motherfucker.
Show me something.
Baby.
Show me something, nigga.
Baby.
Show me something. Bitch ass nigga. Bitch ass nigga. What's up?
Baby.
What's up?
Baby.
Bitch.
Baby.
Bitch ass
Baby.
nigga. Don't touch me, my nigga. I told
Baby.
you that. I told you that. Don't touch me, bro.
Back off.
What's up? What's up?
Back
What's
off.
up? Fight, nigga. What's up? What the fuck?
Baby. Baby.
Watch out.
Baby. 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 Hey, chill the fuck out, cause it's on video.
He good. He good.
Come on.
Dad, what's up?
I got you.
I'm here.
I got you.
I'm here.
Stop. It's the fucking baby right here.
Just keep recording this shit.
I got you right here, boy.
Hey, just keep. Hey, come on here.
out here. Hey, come out here. Hey, come out here. It's on camera, my nigga. Don't touch me, bro. It's on camera. Not worrying about no gun, my nigga. You gonna have to kill me. You gonna have to, nigga. Fuck wrong with you, pussy ass boy.
Come on, boy.
Hey, you gonna have to kill me. You gonna have to. You gonna have to kill me. I got it on camera, man. This white guy assaulted me on camera. That's why he leaving. He calling me a racist ass slurs and shit. Calling me a boy and nigga, all that shit. Got me fucked up. Then he hit my car and shit with his door. You feel me? It's on camera.
Down with them, what was you thinking?
Can you shut up, please?
Can you shut the fuck up, please? Can you shut the fuck up? I'm not doing nothing to you. Get the fuck out my face, Lizzie.